Holy frickin' crap, everybody. I'm very excited tonight because it's going down on the Mackcast. Can you believe it, training number one?
I can believe it, Mac. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty excited about this one.
We actually came through with another Mackcast. People thought it was going down the tubes. We were never going to do another one after the awesome Gino Giovanni podcast that we had.
What people is this, dude? I didn't hear that at all.
You didn't hear the internet buzz? I heard it. I don't know about you, training number one, but we're back with another Mackcast, and I'm very excited. I'm going to leave the introduction to training number one because he's so good at it. He does such a great job. So I'm going to head it over to him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's training number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight on the Mackcast, we have a man who, I'm going to go score member, right? Check,
yeah.
right?
Check.
Referee and possibly senior official.
Very possible.
Check and check. And
Double
also promoter / booker man.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit of that too, right?
Do double check again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rich Bass in the house tonight, and we are actually at Rich Bass's house. Yeah. Everything is painted black with white stripes up and down. It's the couches. It's black with white stripes. This is crazy.
My black and white smoking jacket and smoking pants.
Those are
Danny
in the corner
Davis
of the
style.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also here, I don't know if he's going to say much tonight, but lurking in the corner of the room is Gino Giovanni.
There he is.
Oh no, he's just waving.
Notorious.
Oh no, he doesn't.
He's here on PWF business.
Okay. So, Mac, we'd want to start with a little Mac news. You got anything?
I got some Mac news. Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me about the Mac news because I was going to kick it off to the first question because I'm very excited. But I do have some Mac news. I personally would like to wish Showcase Pro Wrestling the best in their future endeavors because we officially we cut ties with them. But I think Chris Blackheart is a wonderful guy. I would like to thank you personally, Chris, for all the great opportunities that you brought us. You know, Monster Mac got back in the business. He brought us back in. You know, he had me wrestle training number one the first match, but I successfully defeated him.
Nobody cares about that, dude. Continue.
But anyways, he got us a start back into wrestling, and I'd like to appreciate that. Trainer number one, you have any words for Chris?
Well, you know, I just wanted to say thank you to all the great Showcase fans, all the great Showcase wrestlers, everybody working on the booking team over there. Just great guys, top to bottom. It's a great place. You know, and Chris even reached out and he talked to other promoters about us to let us know, you know, that they should keep using us on shows, and even though that the separation happened and all that. So, you know, we just wanted to say thank you, Chris, from the bottom of our hearts. You're just such a great guy.
So if any of you fans want to check out some high-impact wrestling, you guys can check out ShowcaseProWrestling.com. I'm glad I got the address right because Training One's pretty much the Monster Mac memory bank. He holds all the information. I live in ignorancy. Ignorancy, is that how you say it?
No, that's not a word, but I got a few more plugs I want to throw out there.
Oh, man.
Whaling City Wrestling, October 25th, Fairhaven, Mass. Mac, we are wrestling in a giant clipboard on a pole match.
Giant clip on a giant clip. I'm French. You're gonna excuse my English. Giant clipboard on a pole match. I don't know what the promoter was thinking because I had one giant clipboard that I came out. I was making fun of them young kid, the student bodies.
Who's that?
I don't know if you heard of them.
Kind of like the score, but
Yeah. You know what?
They're
I always feel like Sean Candido has to book on his shows a score ripoff. For years and years and years since the score has gone away, Sean Candido has had a raging hard-on for having a score-esque gimmick on his shows. Before that, he made that Marcus Middleton or whatever, not Marcus, Marco Mack. Put a sweater vest on him.
I believe Amber managed them.
Amber
right?
made her a Natalia knockoff.
I have this hilarious clip that we have not released yet.
Well,
we just found out. We just found out it was Gino that did that.
but it was for what company? Fairhaven. Well, that's Candido.
But I dressed up.
Well, go. Right.
So I dressed like a score member that night, and I came out with a giant clipboard. And I ended up getting it smashed over my head, so I don't know where the promoter's going to find another giant clipboard. It's not easy to come by one.
Where did you get one from?
Well, they weren't giant though. They were.
Yeah,
Just
you guys didn't
regular.
get the giant. See, he had the giant one because they came out with the small one. Max got
I
the
used to
bigger
buy them
clipboard.
I used to buy them at CVS.
Just the normal size ones.
Yeah.
$1 or whatever.
Yep, they were awesome. It's the greatest feeling cracking a clipboard over someone's head. I don't know, just because you know you're not going to kill him with it, but you get to break something.
Yeah.
It
That's
wasn't.
awesome.
It wasn't quite a great feeling when it got broken off
No,
my own head.
but it does suck.
Yeah. But I'm very excited because we're gonna kick off this awesome interview.
Not yet, dude. I still have some plugs.
Extra Mac news.
It's not extra. It's not just one, man. Also on that show, a trick or treat match: Scott Levesque versus Dan Strikes.
A trick or treat match.
Which I get. There's 2 buckets.
Oh,
One filled with candy. One filled with dastardly weapons.
I would like the Mounds and the Snickers, please.
Personally, right? And a costume match: Nikki Valentine versus Amanda Fox.
Hey now.
That's the ladies' one for you, Mac. And the referee is Kelly Brooks. I don't know. That's it. And
Lots changed
yeah.
over there.
And I just wanted to say for everybody, we keep forgetting to plug this on our own podcast because we're terrible businessmen. But Mac Attack, the Mackumentary, it's available at Newberry Comics in Dartmouth, Attleboro, and Providence. Buy that shit, please.
It's true. It's true. I saw it with my own eyes.
Dude, I keep getting random pictures sent to me on my phone and on Facebook like, hey, look what I found. It's like, I know, I had it put there. So now, Mac, you get your first question, buddy.
Rich Bass. How long
Super serious.
have you been? I'm about to make it serious, everybody.
Let's do it.
Rich Bass. How long have you been in this business?
12-ish years. Almost
I knew
12.
it. I guessed that.
Almost 12, yeah.
On the way over here.
Did you?
Yeah, I knew you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's crazy to think, like, it does go by. It goes by so fast. Like,
I know, for real. We're in 2013.
Right. Yeah, 2013.
it is.
And here we are now, and we're about to lay it all down, let all the fans know some inside information. They're going to wonder. They've been wondering for years. How did Rich Bass get into the wrestling business? But before you answer that, as a child, how did it all start with wrestling? Was there some kind of personal connection?
He just asked you like 5 questions.
I know, I
Take
gotta-
your time. Feel free to
I
take
gotta-
it.
I
was
think
two,
about that.
but before we get
That's
into
a
that,
lot.
answer the last one I asked.
Sure.
Just so angry about it, too.
You bastard. Answer me. No. In 1994, my grandparents had a black box, so they would.
Like most grandparents in 1994.
Yeah, right. They would tape just random like movies and whatever came on pay-per-view, and like for me and my sister or whatever. And one night, my grandmother decided to record the 1994 Royal Rumble,
Okay.
which was awesome. It was in Providence, and I was
That's
introduced.
Undertaker rises above the
Yep,
arena.
yeah, right.
Okay.
And it was the first real time I was exposed to wrestling, and it was amazing. Like, my grandmother recorded a wrestling pay-per-view for
Yeah,
me. It was like,
just-
oh, geez, I think my grandson would love this.
He just
Like-
might like this. What's going on here?
and it was awesome. Like, and I was just hooked ever since. And I became a huge Bret Hart fan from that pay-per-view.
Right from the
'Cause it
go.
was, with him and Luger
Right,
going out at the
yeah.
same time, and everybody was really behind Bret. So they were doing the gimmick with Owen when Owen turned heel against the Quebecers and
Right.
whatever. It was awesome. Like, just so my grandmother and Bret Hart got me sucked into the business.
What a strange combination.
I know, right?
So you were showing me some pictures earlier. Colossus?
Yeah, Colossus. I used to go to old Yankee Pro Wrestling events.
How did that start?
Well, once
Once you got hooked on wrestling.
I was hooked on it, like, and watching it on television, Monday Night Raw, whatever. I don't remember if my mom or somebody saw a poster for
yeah.
Joe Eugenio's old Yankee Pro Wrestling in New Bedford. It was Coggeshall Street and Belleville Avenue, where the mills used to be.
Yep.
They burned down now; they're not even there anymore. And we used to go every time they were in town, or every time they were always in town. But
Yeah. Now that you know.
now that I
Yeah, yeah.
know that guy's not really from Las Vegas. So yeah, we would just go, and then lo and behold, my stepfather was friends with Colossus, and I don't know, I just would always go follow him around Dartmouth Pride Festival,
Yeah.
Crapo Field, and all that stuff, and that's why it was so crazy for me to get into the business, and now I'm hanging out and like talking to people that I used to watch for
on TV,
years
yeah.
and years and years. Brickhouse Baker, Scott Ashworth, all these guys who I would come pay money for, cheer, boo, like, and whatever, and now are my trainers and my friends and people who I book or people who book me, and it's, I don't know, it's really cool.
It's come full circle, right?
Yeah, totally.
So was it the connection to Colossus? Is that what helped you get into Yankee?
No,
or
not
just,
at all.
You just showed up?
Because, I mean, when I was little, he was cool.
Right.
But, like, I didn't,
If,
whatever
just kind
reasons,
of
I never really spoke to him. Like,
Right.
It was just like, hey, I'm at this kid's party, and that was it. I never. Actually, I continued going to all these events, and I went with my friend Joey to one of Joe when he used to do the flea market shows.
Right.
And Guy Grayson Alexander was my friend Joey's cousin. So I was watching the Score, like their first event, and Guy, as a heel manager, stood out to me as like a really good, like he knew how to draw heat. The crowd hated him. Yeah. That gimmick, that whole everything, and Joey said that that's his cousin. So he introduced me to all the guys.
Was that your connection into the business?
That was my connection into the business. A week later, I came down to start training, and I was training with Nick Steele and Brickhouse Baker.
Where was the training center?
At the flea market.
In New Bedford?
Where Price Right is now, I think. Yeah. But it wasn't like in the back. It was still in the front where they had the third wall up against the ring, up against the wall. Remember that?
I've never actually seen that. I've seen the back training center.
Oh, okay, yeah. There. They used to have just 3 sides to the ring, and one side was up against the wall. I know Gino definitely remembers that. So that's where I started training. And
now, were you training to wrestle at first?
I trained knowing I didn't want to wrestle. Like, I wanted to be a referee because my goal was to be on television. Ultimately.
Right. Yeah.
And at 5'7", you're not going to, as a wrestler,
to
realistically look at it.
No, you're not.
That wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But the way Guy told me was train as a wrestler to have that appreciation for that aspect.
Right.
So when I was going to practice, I was training and taking the same bumps and
as everybody else,
performing the same moves and practicing everything just like everyone else was, just so I could know that side of, and that totally helped. That's like if anyone asks me now about reffing, I tell them train as a wrestler and as a referee at the same time, because you just appreciate everything so much differently, as opposed to
you catch just hanging out on my lap.
My pussy loves you.
It's all good, dude.
So yeah.
Yeah, with especially if you're training to wrestle, you have a little more of an idea of where the match is going, where you should be,
exactly
positioned.
And that's another thing too, is you can put a match together and you can figure out the psychology of a match as a wrestler and as a referee.
Right.
And I think that has just made me a better referee, just knowing both sides of, how the business works, I guess.
Now, how was it training with Nick Steele?
It was brutal, actually.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I mean, the people that know Nick now, he's a pretty happy dude and always willing to help people out. But back in the day, he was definitely a different person. And that's not a knock on him at all. He's a great dude, always gotten along with him. But at that point, his way of the business was he would just beat the crap out of you.
Yeah.
But that's good. I mean, that was a way of learning, because if you can take an ass whooping like that from Nick Steele, then I think you'll be all right.
You'll be all right in the ring. Yeah.
So it was good and bad parts of it, but I was still in high school, so it was like I'd be going to school the next day all like just beat up and like hurt.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, like 15 years old, getting the shit beat out of me by like a 30-year-old dude every night.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? What is the logic of that? I don't understand.
It's hilarious. What life am I living?
Right. Where's this going?
So was it just Nick Steele running the trainings? Or?
No, it was Brickhouse, Nick Steele, Ashworth would help out every now and again. Dan and Brian from the Score would help out. Brian and at the time Dan really helped me a lot too, because I was friendly with Guy and Guy's cousin, so they because they were all friendly, that helped me out in practice too. So the real basics of actually learning how to bump for the first time was taught to me by Dan and Brian. But like the psychology and the moves and everything was Brickhouse.
Out of all them trainers, which one would you say was your favorite?
I would probably Brickhouse.
Did
and
he,
Brian Nunes
take
from,
you aside and show like initiative and?
I think he just helped me as far as like the wrestling part of things, and then I don't know. He always wanted me to do more of that in practice than to referee.
Right.
Because that's what he was. But with refereeing, because Guy also used to be a ref, so during practice he would help me out. And, old man Tom, remember him?
Yeah.
He was like...
Hardcore Tom.
Yeah, he was at Yankee Forever at that time. And I don't know. I think at first he was kind of like...
Threatened by you?
F this kid.
Yeah.
You know? But...
We're getting a big nod from the corner of the room.
Yeah.
Now, how long was
But
it?
I got that a lot, though. I went into a lot of promotions at 15, 16, 17 years
as
old.
a ref, people just
as a
pissed.
ref who got it, like...
Right, yeah.
I'm not at all the type of person to put myself over, but I was getting a position as a referee that other dudes who have been doing it forever had no freaking clue of what they were doing.
Right,
and
right.
I got a lot of heat because promoters would stop using them and
use you,
using
yeah.
me. So it's, well, I mean, whatever.
Right.
Suck it. Like,
Suck it.
Be better than I don't know.
Hilarious, dude. Now, when you were brought up, was first as a referee, right?
Yeah.
How long was it until they started actually giving you matches during shows to ref?
It was probably like 4 or 5 months.
Even
But I
as a
was
ref,
going to practice like regularly
Right,
too,
right,
like
yeah.
once or twice a week at least. Again, while being in high school and while playing like high school baseball. And
Yeah,
so it's
so-
like, whoa.
I got so much shit to do.
Yeah. But it was good because there was more of an opportunity to get work because they were doing Yankee and South Coast.
Right.
So they were doing like 3 or 4 shows at least in a month. So it got to the point where even if I wasn't necessarily ready to do it, they
Right,
just
they could
needed
throw- they
somebody.
needed somebody,
They needed
yeah.
somebody and threw me into it. But that's, in my opinion, that's the best way to learn in wrestling is just being thrown into a situation. Because you can teach and teach and teach, but until you're actually in a situation, that's, I think, when you really
Thrive,
grasp, yeah.
learn. Now, do you remember the first match? that you
Yeah,
ref?
it was Nick Steele versus Johnny Angel for the South Coast Heavyweight title.
So was that a main event?
New
You were the
Bedford.
main event?
Yeah,
Referee? Oh,
Yeah.
man. You must have been psyched.
it was awesome. It was awesome. And for some reason, Old Man Tom thought that I could only ref 1 match.
Per show? Yeah.
So, I think he might have done the whole show himself. And then I'm shocked that he let me do the main event. Years later, that was definitely not the case.
Now, how long did you ref for?
What do you mean? At Yankee?
Because you ended up in the score.
Oh, yeah, but that was in another... I was doing, I was reffing in some places and then managing in other places.
Okay.
So for Yankee, I never actually was in the score. That was somewhere else.
Was that NRG?
It was NEWA.
Okay.
But not the Rhode Island version. It was a completely different... It was, George Carroll was running it. They were affiliated with Chaotic.
Yep.
So it was you saw... It was awesome because it was a young... A lot of the guys who were big New England guys now.
Right.
Handsome Johnny, Mike Bennett, at the time, Minnie and Andre Lyons.
Yeah.
The Logan brothers, me and all of the score. That's... We got to mess up and be terrible and make our mistakes and try to get better there instead of at Yankee. I don't know. It was different.
Was there ever any heat for you branching out to work other places?
Yeah, we all got fired fired, quote unquote, from Yankee Pro Wrestling because we all went to Slam Tech. This is absolutely asinine. Absolutely asinine. This was one of the gripes at that time anyways, was that Guy was booking Yankee Pro. He was only booking his friends. He was getting a ton of heat from Candido and Ricard and all those other guys.
Right.
And then we started training at Slam Tech with Bob Evans to merely better ourselves because now we're discovering that there are other independents outside of Yankee.
Right.
We were always told you literally cannot work anywhere else outside of Yankee Pro Wrestling. You cannot do it, which is ridiculous. You're not even paying us. What the hell are you talking about? So we started training with Slam Tech, fully intending to work still at Yankee.
Yeah.
And they caught wind of it and literally held a meeting at the training center with the entire roster of Yankee Pro, the entire roster of South Coast Pro Wrestling, and had a meeting about how if you work for any other promotions, you're going to be fired. To the point where our names were specifically brought up
They called you guys out
in front of everyone and basically fired all of us in front of the collective locker room because we did nothing more than try to better ourselves.
Now, how long were you in Yankee at that time?
like 3 or 4 years.
So 3 or 4 years of you working nowhere but Yankee.
Yeah.
And you go out, you're trying to better yourself.
So maybe 3 years.
But
Definitely
still.
3 years, yeah.
So it's just, you're working at Yankee every show, going to practice.
But, they, like I said, they had enough shows in a month to fill your time.
Right,
so
right,
it was
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you were busy.
yeah. And you didn't think about getting paid. You just were young in the business and wanted an
To do,
opportunity.
yeah, right.
So,
So are there no Rich Bass wrestling matches out there? Like if I go searching in the old Yankee tapes,
oh, no.
nothing, no battle royals.
Battle Royals under a mask,
Okay,
just to be a
okay,
body
just to be-
in the
yeah,
ring, like
okay.
you would never. Yeah,
I'm not going to see you as Rich Bass though.
No. no.
Was there a situation in one of your reffing, in one of the matches that you were reffing, where something didn't really go as planned, and you might have took an accidental shot to the face, or anything to that nature? Yeah, I'm Monster Mac. I throw the random questions out there. The people might not want to know. But God damn it, I want to know. Did you ever get hit in the face?
Yeah, many times, on purpose and by accident. Many times, on both accounts.
What a random
Rick,
question, dude.
Rick Fuller gave me a bloody nose by accident in the ring.
Tell
like
me,
in
Rick
the
Fuller
beginning.
giving him a bloody nose is not good information.
Yeah.
I think
It
so.
is.
It
is.
Let's hear the story.
Yeah, it was in NECW at the Quincy Armory. I don't know if it was if we were doing the on-demand quote unquote TV tapings
Right,
at that
right.
time or not.
You seem very liberal with those quotes, sir.
Yeah, well, we'll talk more about that later.
Okay,
fellas.
okay.
That actually could be a week's worth of freaking content on its own. So it was Rick Fuller was the heavyweight champion at the time. Me and Rick, he's a presence. People are usually scared shitless of him, but me and him
He's a big
have
dude.
always been cool. There was never any of that tension.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
because Rick Fuller's, I see him with other people, and it's like, whoa. But me and him always gotten along great. Nothing ever like that. But in the ring, he likes to mess with me and like try to bag tag me or like,
Yeah.
it's not any like it's whatever.
It's just him
And
joking around.
I don't know if I blocked him doing something, and his arm went up and just backhanded me right in the middle of my face. As he's like making his entrance, so it was like the beginning of the match,
Right, yeah.
And it was a big match. It was like a title match, main event, and I'm bleeding all over the fucking place like an idiot. And
I'm guessing you continued to referee the
I
whole
did.
match with the bloody nose.
I did. I was
That's a true.
wipe it on myself.
That's a true referee right there.
Yeah, it was awful.
Gave you a tissue or anything?
Nothing. I haven't even thought
No
about
support?
this in years.
No support?
First time I've thought about that in so long.
Yeah, I guess it turned out to be a great question.
Well
Throwing
played.
that random stuff out there.
Well played, sir.
So we're gonna jump back to the big meeting at the training facility.
Yeah, so we just figured, like, if you guys are going to not give enough of a shit about us, that you're going to have to call us out in front of our peers for wanting to better ourselves.
Right.
Which in turn will better you to put more asses in the seats as a collective group of us.
Right. People are just getting better.
Then
in
we're
general.
out of here. Like, what the like, for real? Like, we were just disgusted because we were knowing that there was other stuff out there.
Right.
Learning from Bob Evans, learning from Chris Venom, learning from Michael Sane. And now we're being introduced to guys like George Carroll with NEWA. We're being introduced to, at the time, Matt and Kyle Storm with PWF.
Yep.
And now it's like, wait a minute. We don't need to work at Yankee. Screw those guys. Like, they're going to treat us like crap. And, like, they clearly don't want us here. Then we're out of here. We're not making any money.
Right.
This is stupid. Like, sure, it's close to home, but screw it. We're better off traveling and trying to make a bigger name for ourselves. And let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, who was it actually saying it at the meeting? Was it Joe or
it was Joe, it was Ricard, and it was Candido.
all three of them together?
Because Candido, they all knew that Guy was being kicked out of his booker role of Yankee Pro.
Yeah.
And Candido was coming into that role as a booker of Yankee Pro. So I think this was a long time coming, like talked
Kinda thing,
about
yeah.
behind the scenes.
they knew some shit was going to go down.
I mean, it sounds so stupid now talking about it because it was so long ago, but it was like a fucking witch hunt.
It blew your mind, right? It's
Like, is
just,
this really happening?
Yeah.
You guys are such petty dicks. Like this, like really, like. But it was good though, because that's exactly what we needed.
Well, yeah,
'Cause,
the
I mean,
kick in
just
the ass kinda
to
thing.
make the connections ultimately with Bob Evans, who was at the time booking NECW.
right.
So that connection was made, and then Matt and Kyle with PWF, and and George Carroll for that little while in NAWA. It was, it was ultimately for the better.
So as pretty much as soon as you guys all left Yankee at that time, that's NRG. Did you have anything to do with that?
Yeah, that was actually Guy and Dan Freitas's.
Right.
They were the money people behind that. That was their company.
And they ran at the Salvation Army in Fall River.
Salvation Army in Fall River, and then I forgot the venue, but it was in Westport, Massachusetts. And then they did a show up in Braintree too, and that was a lot of fun. And I helped out as much as I could with everything from booking idea. That was the first time I ever got to help out with booking.
Yeah.
Helping them out with promoting of it, postering, and all that stuff. And to just be on that side of things for the first time.
Seeing how it is done from the other side kind of thing. Now, I'm trying to remember. They did a couple of shows in Fall River, right?
Yeah.
2 or 3. What ended up happening? They kind of just stopped running, or?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think there was that's what there was a falling out with Guy and Dan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So some bullshit stuff. Yeah.
So
did you said you got the first hand look at that time how to book and promoting and all that? Is that something that sparked your interest?
Oh, absolutely. Like,
it just got you into it.
No, not a question. I was always interested in that end of the business, anyways.
Right.
And just to be that close to it, and like to pitch an idea, and for somebody to be like, "Oh, that's awesome. That could work. Let's do that."
Right.
Like, holy shit! Yes, I can't wait to see it my idea get played out and see how the people react to it. And,
right.
And that was like my first taste of it, so that was awesome.
So, and you said at that point the connections are made with Bob. You're going to Slam Tech.
Yep,
you
going to Slam Tech.
Chris Venom and
all those
Michael
guys.
Sane.
Yep, and they were doing their little like a TV taping for an internet show.
Yep, they did Slam Tech TV
from the school.
I randomly found a VHS tape of that when we moved out of a.
Yeah, we have a box full of tapes and randomly a Slam Tech TV because we attended some Slam Tech trainings. I don't know if you remember us at that time. I don't know if you were even there. I have a horrible memory. That's why I got training one.
That was my memory
sitting on the side of me. But yeah, we went to a few tapings. I'm gonna have to look through that tape and see if I can see you anywhere. I really think you'll probably be on there.
Yeah, it was usually me and Dan Tanaka reffing on those shows.
Yeah.
And then, oddly enough, Steve Weiner was also refereeing that.
That's a totally different ballgame, my friend.
Absolutely.
Let's get a little straight.
Yeah. So we left, and the first company to give us a chance outside of Yankee Pro Wrestling was PWF.
And that's Kyle and Matt Storm.
And Kyle was just coming into the company at the time.
Right.
And they had shit-canned a whole bunch of guys and brought a whole bunch of new guys in. And the Score and myself were a part of that group.
What?
I was refereeing, and
Right,
they were. It was Guy, Jillian, Dan, Brian, and Pat.
Everybody.
And it was awesome,
Before I wanted to kind of jump back a little bit.
Sure.
Just compare the trainings from Yankee trainings to the Slam Tech trainings. Like, ooh, yes,
Gino likes that one. I thought a lot of the times at Yankee it was just kind of you show up and get the shit kicked out of you, depending on who was training that night. Which again is fine sometimes, but
right.
We ultimately we're here to learn, and we were just learning more about psychology with Bob, and how to put a match together properly with Chris Venom. And
the tape studying I found was a major difference between the trainings. You would take a lot of time to sit down, watch a match, write notes about it, study it. Where the Yankee training's not dissing or anything,
right?
But it was more based on spots. I remember lining up. I think I might have mentioned this during the Gino podcast. But I remember getting in a big lunch line, like I'm waiting for my lunch. And then when it was my turn, I would run, slide in the ring, take a clothesline, and then roll out of the ring.
Yeah. Yep.
And then do it all over again.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. Which, again, you do have to learn how to do the moves.
Right, yeah.
But you got to learn where these moves need to go. You need to learn why you're doing those moves. Not just, hey, look at all this cool shit I can do. For no reason. Look at all, come on. So, with those two trainings together, I thought was awesome. And I think some of the people who went that route are some of the best workers around. Mike Bennett, Yankee guy. People forget that all the time.
Right.
He was trained by Brickhouse,
right.
by Nick Steele, by all these guys, and then went to Bob Evans. And I think that makes like a perfect combination because you
Right.
learn how to do the moves repetitively. So
It's second nature.
and then you learn where to put them. And I just thought that's a great combination.
It's a good point, man. There's a few guys that went that route. I know
Pat Masters,
Lombardi.
Lombardi, hell yeah. Lombardi was always like entertaining and Yankee, but after he went to see Bob, it was like, whoa, he's one of the best around. Like
He got it.
shit,
He got it.
you
Man,
know?
yeah. Paul Lombardi's a good friend of mine. That's why I always try to throw him out there every time people. I feel like because he disappeared and went to Florida, people forget about him up here.
That's exactly it.
Not anymore. He did for a while. Yeah, he worked for Hogan for a bit. It was very strange. So you said the first people to give you guys a shot was the PWF.
PWF and NEWA for sure.
And you went in there both just as a referee at the time?
NEWA, I went in as I went in as the scores manager.
Okay. What was the score name?
PhD. Preston H. Dufas.
Dufas.
Yeah. They split Guy off from the score.
Okay.
Because he was at this point now training to wrestle.
Yeah.
So he was Mike Benoit's manager.
Yep.
As the Miracle. That's where the Miracle Mike Benoit came from. And Guy was his manager, and then they ended up feuding. And then it was just me as the scores manager exclusively.
Right.
Because at first I was like the apprentice, like whatever.
Lackey
I was the
kinda
one
guy.
left to get my ass kicked and all that stuff.
Now, were you a
And then-
referee in there too?
Yeah, I did like a heel turn.
The heel
deal,
ref
yeah.
thing, right? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. That's I just seen if my memory was serving
Yeah.
me correctly.
That's better than mine because I started there as a ref and then did a little heel turn. Went into the score. I think I turned on the Logan brothers. I forgot what they were, like one man army
Yeah.
or something really weird. Turned on them and then aligned myself with the score. And it was the first time I got to cut like live promos in front of a crowd.
Right,
and
right.
It was just it was a good experience. Like it was a really good experience.
Those
And then to be with
NEWA
guys like Brian Malonis, Todd Hansen, when we were all still trying to, become credible.
Break in.
That roster, if a company could have that roster now,
Totally, yeah. I know.
like wow. So yeah, NEWA was a good time, definitely.
And what was how was it going into PWF?
It was cool because I was watching all these guys. I mean, again, they kind of did a witch hunting thing too. They put everybody. Then this was when they were running shows at the Loomis Arena, which was just a barn in Connecticut.
Okay.
But the like I said, Kyle Storm was just coming. Kyle Storm was just coming into the company, and he was firing just a shitload of people.
Yeah, kicking everybody out.
So like all the new people that he brought in were at the same event that all these guys it was their last show.
right. It was
So
your
the locker room speech was like, look around because a lot of you won't even be here next time. And I'm like, damn, that sucks. But I know it isn't me because this is my first show, bitch. I'm here to stay. Like, you know what I mean? But it was like, wow. I hope that's not indicative of how
This is going to work in the future.
promotion's going to be because I don't know. But no, it turned out to be a lot of fun. And that was actually one of the places that I came in as like a 17-year-old ref. I was there for like 4 months, and they made me the senior official. And which in my mind, I don't know. I look at it because people make a big deal about it,
Right. Some people.
which I think is funny because it's not at all a big deal.
Right,
To the
yeah.
point where now I make fun of it by saying that I'm your senior official, Rich Bass.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's so petty and stupid, but I know like that some referees are like, ah! It's the most territorial position in wrestling.
That's hilarious. That's
Like
so great.
Next show that you're on, watch because I don't get involved anymore in this process.
Yeah.
But you watch the lineup go up and watch the flock of refs,
Referees.
and it's the same guys every time who get mad about it. But at the time, I'm not going to go into detail. Maybe in a little while.
Yeah, save it now. Yeah.
At the time, the senior official of PWF would get pissed because Mad Dog would make the ref assignments
yeah.
and put me in the main event.
Yeah.
Which again doesn't mean anything in my opinion. It is what it is.
Right.
But people would get pissed off about it. So I think it's funny. So that was PWF. They just after 4 months I felt super comfortable. I knew I was really getting good at what I did.
Right.
and
Yep.
I don't know.
So
I was having a hell of a lot more fun.
then when you were at Yankee, you're saying
towards the end.
would it just become like you're saying? It just became
It was just
I gotta
better.
do
Like
this.
there was no there was no drama like politics,
Backstage
or
kind of
anything.
stuff.
Nothing that I was aware of, at least.
Right.
There was literally just we all drove up together from New Bedford and Dartmouth, did our show in Rhode Island, and went back home and whatever. Like there was no. In New Bedford with Yankee, there was so much tension at the end,
Right,
with everybody,
because
that guy's only booking you because you're his friend and all this other stupid crap. Just go somewhere else and get work and
enjoy your day.
enjoy it.
Yeah. Now, wasn't there some sort of PWF NECW merge?
Yep.
Was that around that time?
It was a little bit later on. Not too.
Am I jumping over anything? That's
no. At that time of PWF. Bob Evans was booking for NECW.
Okay, yep.
So I was also with that I also started to work for NECW.
Okay.
So I was working for PWF and NECW simultaneously. Then Sheldon had a falling out with Bob, and it was a mess. It was because Bob was NECW at that time. Bob and his students were NECW. Sheldon was the face, which he always is. It's always the Sheldon Goldberg show. But Bob was, he was putting up the posters. He was supplying the workers, the ring. He was booking. He was doing everything while Sheldon did his typical usual thing of, whoa, NECW's Sheldon Goldberg, NECW's Sheldon Goldberg, NECW's. So Bob and Sheldon had a huge falling out. He just couldn't take it anymore. And he was done. That was a wrap.
And that was the beginning of EPW, right?
So Bob broke off and did EPW. Again, I'm an independent contractor.
Right, yeah.
I don't have...
You'll work there too.
I'm fine with everybody.
Right, yeah.
I will continue to work for NECW. I will continue to work for PWF. And now I'm going to go work for EPW. This is great. Yeah. I have so many bookings. Life is good.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where Sheldon wasn't able to run without more help.
Right.
And PWF at that I don't know what their status was at that time. I think they were kind of getting ready to throw in the towel too. At the time they were both, really respectable promotions in the area.
Right.
And they came to an agreement. Now at this time I had nothing to do with the booking. I had nothing
You're just
to do
a fly on the wall.
I had nothing to do with ownership. I was just reffing for PWF and NECW, and that was it. And they merged. And the titles all merged, and some of the people stuck around. They brought a bunch of new people in, and that was...
And you guys went under the NECW name?
NECW name, because the general consensus, I guess, between all of them was that NECW was the bigger
name in the area
at the time. So that's what they went with. And then it sounded, I guess, marketing-wise, New England Championship Wrestling is probably easier to market than PWF would be. So they closed, merged, whatever.
Right, yeah.
And they ran that way for a while. Bob did his thing for a while. And
now, when they merged, there was no tension about you working for Bob and working for them, or?
There was. Not at first, because I made it real clear that this is what's going to happen. Like, suck it. Like, you're not paying me enough to... You're paying me... Thank you very much.
Right,
Please don't.
yeah. Don't stop.
But you're not paying me enough to it's another one of those exclusive things. I felt like when I would go work for Bob, I would get heat, subliminal heat about it.
Yeah.
And then when I'd go work for Sheldon, Matt, and Kyle, I would get heat for that too. So it's like, come on, guys. Like, I'm not some... And at the time, it was me and Frankie Arion were the only two...
Doing both.
I don't see a problem with it.
Right.
One runs in Quincy, the other one runs in Plainfield, Connecticut. Nowhere near each other. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Ultimately.
So what was the result of the heat? Did you stop working for somebody, or?
No, I stuck to my guns. I stuck to my guns, and they, I don't know, I guess just appreciated my honesty and just went along with it.
Now, you were saying you got subliminal heat for it. Was there an actual point where someone like came up to you and was like, "Hey, cut this out. You only can work for one place"?
No one actually. That's the thing in this wonderful world of wrestling is no one usually has the balls to come up to you and actually say it to your face. Is they say it to other people, knowing that it'll get back to you. Yeah. So, and again, to this day, I don't know if this is even true, but I have no reason to believe that it's not. The NECW and EPW were running on the same night. The way I run my bookings is I will take the first date
whoever
that I get.
Hit you up first, yeah.
So Bob had contacted me first about his date, so I went and did that show. I heard that during the NECW event, that Kyle Storm was going around telling everybody that he's gonna fire me because I chose Bob's date over
your
his,
yeah,
pretty much. F. Rich Bass, I'm gonna fire him. But that never happened.
Right.
So, but now thinking back at it, I totally don't doubt that conversation took place.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'll never know. But I heard it from more than one person. But it was never anything significant enough for me to say anything about it because I never got fired. So.
Right. Yeah. Nothing ever came from it.
Yeah.
Now that's NECW starts getting the Comcast deal. There's some sort of Comcast deal that comes into play.
There was some sort of Comcast deal.
What was? Because I think it was fucked from the go, right? And because it was supposed to be on at a certain time or a certain channel, and it got changed.
Yeah. Well, this is exactly this is. I gotta do something for this story though.
Oh no! We'll take. I can hit pause. We'll take a quick break.
Do we have to?
No.
We can go, right? We can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it live.
So,
yeah, that was definitely fucked from the beginning.
Right.
No question about it. Totally fucked from the beginning. And as much as I would love to pin like one of us up against the wall and have it be I can't get this is a shoot. I can't get into super detail about it because it's an ongoing lawsuit.
Okay.
with Matt, Kyle, Sheldon versus Comcast.
Okay.
So that's happened. That's still happening. That's still like
okay. Yeah.
This is fast forward a couple years after EPW and everything. EPW ended up closing, whatever. So now NECW was definitely my place. Like that was
the priority.
And then Matt had approached me. Mad Dog had approached me if I wanted to start helping him out booking. So now I was starting to be part of the creative process.
Right.
And then the TV deal comes, and that's like, whoa! Like holy crap! Like I'm gonna get to write television on Comcast,
television.
4 p.m. Friday afternoons on Comcast, signed deal. Like holy shit! Like 38 million households or something.
The availability.
Like
to get
this
the
was
channel.
it. Like this was the shit. This was it right now.
Who brokered the deal? Who was in touch with Comcast?
Paul Richard.
Okay.
Former WWF referee back in the day. He was really Matt, Sheldon, and Kyle's mouthpiece for everything because he was the one who got ECW into New England.
He promoted ECW
into Fall River and everywhere up in Riviera and everything. So he really knew that side of the business. So he got a hell of a job, got the contract put together, whatever the details were. I was just helping out being a booker. I didn't know anything monetarily wise at that point yet. So that wasn't, So we're moving forward thinking that we're going to be on television.
Right.
We buy retardedly
I was
expensive.
Say, you guys upgrade a lot of stuff.
We bought totally ridiculously expensive camera equipment. We started using different wrestlers who require a little bit more money.
Right.
We
you
bought a stage.
Deal, the stage.
Bought a
thing?
stage, a big screen, and then Comcast tells us that they're gonna not be able to do that. That they have to put us on demand. So that cuts the viewership by at least half.
Right.
So now we're like, what? They presented it as, well, that'll be a trial, and then we'll put you on to the spot that we had set. It was so close to happening that the week before, I was able to set my DVR
to record
for New
the
England
episode
Championship Wrestling
at 4:00 on.
And until I moved from my old apartment, it never left my set recordings on my DVR. So I could have proof
that it was
that this was really going to happen.
Yeah.
New England Championship Wrestling, 4:00 Fridays, Comcast.
So that Friday comes.
So now you want to tell us we're on demand. We had already had our last event saying our next event would be a TV taping. Right. So we're already falsely advertising what the taping is going to be. Because it's not going to be for a Comcast show. It's going to be lost on demand that nobody pays attention to.
Right.
That nobody...
we watched it. I watched it.
That nobody has any way of gauging the ratings of it.
Right. There's no...
So now you're completely...
Download apps or points or whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just there.
09, 08, 09 or whatever it was. So there was no, Hulu this or whatever the
Right,
fuck,
right,
like-
yeah.
And ultimately, I think it ruined everything. The morale, I think, overall was in the shitter.
Right.
Matt, Kyle, Sheldon, and Roy were losing boatloads of money because they paid for this new equipment. They got a new truck to store the staging.
Right.
It was just thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that were just thrown out the fucking window. Literally, like, you may as well have
because
literally
Comcast
thrown them in the trash.
Changed
these
their
dollars.
mind at the last minute.
Right.
Now,
So now the lawsuit is to dispute all of that.
to try to get something.
You know,
It's straight. Yeah, I found it a little weird that they're in a lawsuit together, Sheldon and Matt and Kyle. Isn't there some sort of friction there? Or
oh yeah. Then ultimately, certain people couldn't take ownership for
well,
the monies that they had
put out,
put out, and it just led to a lot of pressure being put on Matt, Kyle, and Sheldon. Like I said, the morale at
I was gonna
shows
say, what was the feeling like in the locker room?
it was
when
awful,
when
especially
everybody
because
found
I
out?
knew when no one else really knew.
Yeah,
Like when the boys didn't know. And
because
just
to them,
my
they still
own,
knew. They still
right.
thought
Right.
Friday.
And then
4
when
o'clock.
when we told the boys, it was just like, holy shit, dude.
yeah, nobody was
That feels worse to tell them than it did to even find out ourselves. Like,
right.
it's more heartbreaking to see their reaction
Then how you
than
actually
how
felt.
we feel. Like, so that just put so much tension on Matt, Kyle, and Sheldon to the point where they were just like, you know what, we're gonna end it. We can't even. There's no point in running anymore.
Right.
So they did the last Toxic Waltz in Quincy. Todd Hansen won, and that was it. NECW was done, closed down, boom. A week later, Matt and Kyle asked me to go over to Kyle, meet them at Kyle's house, and they asked me if I would be interested in becoming a part owner of PWF and opening up PWF again with
Yeah.
Matt, Kyle, myself, and Spencer. Because Spencer had been a part of everything for years with PWF
Right,
behind the
yeah.
scenes and all that. And it was like, holy shit. Like, I feel like that is what should have been anyways. Like, PWF was the
Right,
first
yeah.
place that I got a chance. So it makes total sense for
For
me
me to be involved.
to do that.
Yeah.
So that's how all of that NECW,
PWF and then the split.
bullshit came about. But while that was happening, though, I mean, that was never talked about until after NECW was closed.
Right.
There was no like conspiring, like, ha ha ha, Sheldon, we're gonna script. That's what he thought.
That's what. Yeah,
That's
okay.
what he was telling everybody. Like, oh, those guys planned on doing PWF forever, and they screwed me out. And like, no, we just wanted to be part of the business, but not there.
Right.
Not with you guys can't work together. So obviously we're gonna not. And ultimately, he opened back up anyways.
Right, and he's running right now.
and doing whatever he's doing. So
I think he's got another Comcast deal. That's. I don't know if it's Comcast or
there was some TV,
some station.
some local station in Boston. I think.
midnight.
Yeah, I don't think they do it anymore.
No, it's already. No, I didn't even know. Now, somewhere in that time, while you're working for the NECW, PWF, you start working with other promotions like ACW.
Yeah,
That is quite the reaction. Were you part of Team Talent?
is that what we were called? John Monroe and Vane? No,
Wasn't it Team Talent? I thought that was.
no, that was Davey and Vinny and. No, I don't remember what the team name was.
But yeah,
honestly.
okay. So what was your involvement in ACW? How
Well,
did that come about?
It was always on a Friday,
Right.
and I liked a lot of the guys that were working there, but we just never seemed to cross paths. It was, all the old Yankee guys, because Yankee went on to be top rope and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So,
Which we're gonna get a little. You go back to top rope eventually for a little bit,
yeah,
right?
a couple of times.
A couple times. I love the reaction. So, as I continue.
So,
Let me intervene here. I believe you shot your way all the way up to ACW commissioner. Is this true?
it's true.
How did that come about?
It's true. I snuck on in there.
You
and
bossing guys around already? You just show up?
Well, no, it took a long time for that to happen. It took
I wasn't present current ACW day.
yeah, no, it took a long
unfortunately.
time. Unfortunately, a long time in ACW. Years.
I would have loved to got bossed around by you, but it didn't work out that way.
No, it
What a
did
strange
not.
compliment.
Yeah,
I'd love for you to tell me what to do.
I'll take it. But no, I used to go to ACW shows on Friday nights when I didn't have an event with Matt Storm, and we used to just go and drink at the VFW and hang out with the boys and watch a show. And you know, some of it was really bad, the show. So
Right.
it was kind of like an amusing, like, oh, let's go watch.
Right. Which
But
everybody
then we
does
get
that.
to see Scott Ashworth and our friends have good matches, but at the same time, we get to watch these guys who have no business being in the ring and fucking be stupid. So it was great. And then eventually, I saw more credible people start coming in.
Yep.
John Monroe was there. You know, the Hoods. Gino eventually came in. And a bunch of other guys had come in, and it's like, wait, all right, so maybe I can kind of dictate what I want to do here. And
Right. Yeah.
So
Now, did you know it was Candido booking at the time, or
I think when I started there, it was just Dave.
it was still just Dave running the?
I think because I was getting booked by Dave.
Okay. So it must have been like a
And I think that was
a
part of
Dave
the,
committee, him and a few other guys.
I think part of the eventual like discrepancy with him and Candido was that Dave would book guys and pay them and not tell Candido.
Right.
So, you know,
Overall, what was your feelings on Dave's booking skills? Because Gino gave him positive points. I want to try to get Dave Oliveira a good name. I know his name's kind of stepped on in the business, so let's hear them positive points for Dave Oliveira.
Well, I can't help you with that because as of
That son of a bitch didn't give me a dime. All right.
What's today's date?
That's not true.
I got I got
The
to pay
16th.
that.
As of October 16th, Dave Oliveira still owes me money.
Oh, so
So
fuck him is what you're saying.
yeah,
Not as much money as he owes me for
You're
one of the
probably right.
bookings.
but that was my gripe about working there was I wasn't going to work for free.
right.
So Dave paid me. People in the locker room got so pissed off that these outside guys were coming in
Yeah.
and getting paid. But what the fuck? We said you want us to work for you, then you need to pay us.
Yeah.
And he said okay, and here we are. We're making your shows better. It's your fault for not asking to get paid, asshole. Like,
Is he talking to me directly?
He might be. Yeah.
no, because you guys weren't there.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like, how are you going to get mad at us? Like,
Right. No,
ask
I
to
did.
get paid then. Like, you shouldn't be working for free anyways. I don't understand.
Yeah, we were already gone by that point, Mac.
But then it just got to the point where Dave would, you know, not have the money, or he'd say next time or whatever. And I literally, one of the only few times I've ever flipped out
Was there?
in wrestling was I pulled him aside in Mattapoisett. It was right at the end of it before WCW started. And he had a locker room full of guys who were waiting to get paid, and he was telling everyone he had no money.
Yeah.
I heard about this infamous story.
Yeah, so
let's hear some details.
I
'cause
pulled him aside, and
I heard there was like a whole locker room guys giving him the dirty eye.
yeah,
like,
but nobody wanted to say
give him the
anything.
beat down.
But nobody wanted to say anything. Everybody in the locker room was pissed
Pissed
off,
that they didn't.
but nobody had the balls to go upstairs and pull Dave aside. And I said, fuck this. I'll be that guy.
Yeah.
Went upstairs, pulled Dave into a side, you know, I need to speak to you. And I flipped the fuck out on him.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, who the fuck do you think you are? You have a locker room full of guys who just busted their ass to put money into your pocket, and you promised them money, and now they're being sent home with none. You know, I mean, regardless, if you make money or not, if you're telling people you're going to pay them,
Pay him.
pay them. There have been times with PWF or an NECW over the years where, you know, there were more, the payroll was higher than the money that came in, and you lose money. That's part of the business. If you're going to be a man of your word,
You gotta pay.
you got to pay.
Right.
And I think ultimately he paid a couple of guys that night, and that was really the end of.
Your connection with.
Yeah, after that I was done over there.
You just stopped
Until-
showing up, or.
I just didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, just.
And I was just reffing, and then Candido opened WCW, and that's when I came in and did the. I was managing Scott Levesque for a while, and
Right.
And then ultimately the same thing happened there too.
Just
So it was
eventually the same. Now earlier, I don't know if it was during the podcast or before, you seem to have some gripes with Candido.
yes and no. I mean, we've always gotten along. Like personally, that's the part I don't understand.
Right. So what's the beef? And I want to say I'm sorry, Candido. I need to get the story out there. Please don't be mad at us. We're gonna be as bipartisan as possible. Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea what exactly the problem is.
He's a very nice guy, and God bless him.
Yes.
So-
God bless you. It's. The promoter not paying wrestlers, or not just wrestlers, anybody who's, essentially, where I think myself and David Baker and Scott Levesque were at that time on the card, and to find out other people like JT Dunner getting paid every show, no questions asked, and we're not getting paid.
Right.
When Jamie knew as a wrestler what we were all thinking about Dave Oliveira.
Right, yeah.
And WCW was supposed to not be that.
I was there the first.
He said,
there was a big meeting
the
at
first 2 or 3 shows, if you guys work for free, I promise that everybody will start getting paid. Heard it from him, heard it from other people who are involved in that end of the business at that company.
Baby.
And the 3rd show, 4th show, 5th show, nothing. Awkward, like, just whatever. And I was, all right, I gave you 5, 6, whatever it was that I did. Like, how much more of just a shot can you get? It's not
right.
So I guess my gripe, it's not like a ongoing like F Candido.
Right.
It's
No,
just
I know
like
what you're saying. That's why it happened.
Yeah.
Basically. Now we were saying earlier you went back to Top Rope a few times.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I don't know. I went back so many different times. I feel like it goes back, like, I don't know. That was, the first time, it was because I really wanted to work at the PAL.
Right.
Because regardless as to whatever the politics are,
PAL's
Yankee
awesome.
or Top Rope or whatever, the PAL is just amazing. That's the greatest venue in wrestling, I think.
I think
New England.
that's a general consensus so far on the podcast, I'd say. But so you went back. You wanted to work the PAL. I'm sure you got to.
So yeah, I went back and it was cool. It was Gino was back. I was reffing with Zach Carter, who I've known for literally his whole career. So when me and him are on a show together, it's usually you have
guys
two,
enjoy yourselves.
You have 2 good refs on your show. We're going to put your product over, and it's going to look legitimate. They had guys like Michael Sane coming into the company. They had DC Dillinger, Eddie Edwards, all these guys who were starting to work for them now, and it was awesome because it was. I felt it was a good mix. It was new, fresh faces coming to Top Rope, and it was awesome. Spent like 2 years, I think, back there. I remember doing the outdoor world shows up in Sturbridge and hanging out with everybody, partying with Ricard, and everything was cool. And then I don't know, I just felt like it just went right back into what it used to be. Like I thought, you think it changed, but it
it's the same old thing.
It didn't change at all.
Right. Now you said you go back a few times, so there must have been a couple falling outs in there. It's just
I don't even specifically remember what the hell they were. To be honest,
nothing specific. I know. I remember once of like a posters. There was like a deal with
that
tearing
one.
posters. Was that later on though?
That was still when NECW was
okay, so this was NECW
going on.
time.
Yeah, it was NECW time. It was just when I was helping book, and we had booked the Iron 8 that year in Somerset.
And that was at the multiplex, right?
Yep, at the old ACW arena.
Yeah, that's how I know that place.
And then the same arena where Samoa Joe and Jose Perez had a scuffle.
Yeah, I got to ask Jose about that when we do the podcast with him. I'm sure he's got a whole.
I reffed that match, but I'll let that story be
the Jose's. Yeah,
Jose's.
Because all I know, I wasn't even there that night. I just heard what had happened, and I just want to hear from Jose's side.
Yeah, I do too.
He's gonna tune in to the Mattcast.
And then I'll come back and give you an unbiased story.
From your side. I like it. So what was the deal with the posters?
Yes. So Somerset, as you know, is one town over from Fall River.
Right.
However, when we booked Somerset, we never said, "Ha ha ha, Steve Ricard, we're coming to get your town, brother." We were just running at a venue that was available one time, maybe twice. Like, not by any means trying to come in and step on toes, trying to, whatever. We needed a venue, and that was going to be it.
Did you find out about that venue through ACW? Because they ran shows there before.
Yeah. Well,
it's a beautiful venue.
It was between
big.
that and the other company that ran.
When you ran the show,
URW or you? I don't remember what they were called.
They had like Johnny Cockstrong on the show and stuff, right? Wasn't that?
No, that was the one. That was the one Samoa Joe wrestled Jose.
Oh, that was the same.
That
Okay,
company.
maybe I was at that show then.
But I don't remember the name of the. He'll remember because I think he was booking.
Right.
Jose.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but they ran 2 or 3 times there, so I knew it was an available venue that might be interested in doing
a wrestling show. Yeah.
So we followed up with it.
When you ran there, did they let you use that upstairs locker room?
Yeah.
It was an awesome locker room.
That was awesome.
I missed that place.
Huge.
And you got to look over. You could watch the show
Yep.
from the lot. It was always dope.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool venue. But the other time we'd put the locker room on the other side and we cut the soccer field in half.
Yeah.
Because it just looks stupid. You have 100 people inside of a giant soccer.
Yeah, it's huge.
How
do you think it looked with 30 people in a giant room like that?
Yeah.
Old ACW shows.
So we ran the Iron 8 there. And at the time, that's NECW's biggest show.
Right.
That's, it's a tournament of 8 of the best around. And the last match is an Iron Man match, a 45-minute Iron Man match. So it was a really big deal.
Right.
Scott Levesque was in it that year. Little Guido, Don Vega, Todd Hansen, a couple other guys. Tony Mamaluke. Anyways, so it was a big deal. So we promoted everywhere.
Right.
But we didn't go to Fall River. We left Fall River. And Shooter, ironically, was helping us with all of this.
The promotion stuff.
The promotion side of things. And he said where he put up an NECW poster, it's been torn down and replaced with a Top Rope poster.
Right.
Directly in front of the soccer center.
Okay.
So, okay. So whoever it is, who does the Top Rope flyering? Who does the promoting?
I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying. So now Shooter's starting to see it even in stores. Top Rope posters put right next to an NECW poster. And the Top Rope poster would have Hacksaw Jim Duggan on it.
Yeah.
Next to a 45-minute Iron Man match poster. Jeez, so between tearing posters down and replacing it with their own, it was just dude, and I work for you. And when you see Matt in public and Sheldon, you shake their hand and you say, how you doing? And it was rumored to be Sean O, but Sean O denies it. Ultimately, I don't care who it was. It's Steve Ricard's company. It's your company. You need to know what your people, whoever it is doing.
Right.
So I couldn't continue to ref at a place that.
Now, I'm assuming you brought it up to them.
I did, and everybody denied me denying having anything and whatever. So
that was the last time, then, basically.
I went back to do the Brockton Fair 2 years ago, and
just
they never
because you wanted to do the Brockton Fair.
When they had asked me to do it, I was thinking that I was going to come back regularly.
Right.
I think I maybe did one PAL show, and then that was it. It's very, very strange sometimes over there. It's also strange how you can just forgive so easily, too, just to go back to the PAL, I guess. I don't know.
Right, it's the draw of the PAL.
I was going to go back earlier this summer to do a couple of New Bedford shows, but
I'm sure since you've known them guys for so long, it's been such a long time that it's pretty much like an open invite for you to come back and do some random ref jobs.
If only it was like that.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet if it was that nice and
friendly.
Oh, Rich, you can come back anytime, brother. Not so much.
Yeah. So this brings us to current day, not current day exactly, but where you start booking, promoting, owning PWF with Kyle and Matt and Spence.
Correct.
how is it as an owner different from when you were just promoting or just booking?
You look at the price of a card more than you look at the quality of a card. I feel like if you're a good booker, no matter who you have, as long as they have somewhat of a clue about wrestling, a good booker can put out a hell of a show with not guys who are asking for $200 to cut. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what we did. And PWF, even before I got involved, was always that local company who would give a chance to somebody who other companies were like, you know what?
Giving them a chance.
What F that guy, like,
Right.
And they've always been like that. They were like that with me, with the Score, with George, Brandon, everybody.
Yeah.
They gave opportunities to wrestlers and whatever who wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. So I wanted to really continue that, and even with NECW, when no one was using Vinny Nero,
Right.
we were using Vinny Marcellia. We were using Matt Magnum before anybody else was.
Right.
Before anybody and everybody now all of a sudden is on those guys' nuts. we were giving them an opportunity. And I'm not saying that they're not talented. They totally deserved the spot that they were given.
Right.
But nobody could see it. We gave them opportunities.
Gave them the shot.
So I think I'm to the point now where I'd rather just give someone an opportunity than, because I mean, what the hell am I going to do at this point? I don't.
Right. Yeah.
It's fulfilling enough to see that happen. Then I don't know.
And you guys have been successfully now running shows for a year and a half now, 2 years since the split from Sheldon, or
it was going on 3.
3. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So and you guys run regularly. Then there was some a problem recently, right? Where you guys were
we actually we're kind of going through a lot of
changes
with the venues and everything, to the point where it's such a time-consuming thing.
Right.
So there'll be more information about PWF coming out soon.
Any hints on what you're working on?
No.
Nothing.
It's a strenuous thing. It's a very time-consuming thing. So, yep.
So and you guys plan to be back up and running in 2014? Is my guess.
That's part of the news, brother.
I don't want to blow you. I'm sorry. Well,
it's part of the news, man.
Now, you guys do like a Pier 6 radio, right?
Yeah, that's another cool outlet to actually be on a something like this, a podcast where people actually tune in and give a shit about what I have to say. Like,
right?
Really?
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So we do it every Sunday. We broadcast out of Brown University, right in Providence, Rhode Island. It's a pretty sweet deal. Every Sunday night, Pier 6 Wrestling Roundtable. Can I plug it?
Oh, plug away, dude. Yeah, plug away. No, get out of here with that shit.
BSRlive.com, 8:30 every Sunday night, and you can find us on iTunes and all that good stuff too.
Now, who else is on the show with you?
It's myself, the Mad Dog Matt Storm, former ROH wrestling commentator Caleb Seltzer, and Big Scotty Lane. And we have guests in the studio every now and again. We've had Gino in. We've had Ebony Blade in a bunch of times. TJ Wild, Mark Reality.
I hear there's a rumor that you might have Monster Mac, or at least Trini #1.
Anytime the Monster Macs want to come down to the Pier 6 Roundtable.
Hey, no, that's a spot for you, Trini.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Because you have all the Monster Mac info.
It's true, you don't remember anything.
Anytime, you guys are more than welcome.
It's awesome. Now, you guys do it at the studio. You bring. Do you ever do like phone calls or anything like that?
Yeah, we'll take calls, emails, Twitters, all that stuff.
Because I was thinking about getting upgrading the podcast system to include like a phone line.
That'd be awesome
to take calls. But I feel like we're gonna get a lot of prank calls.
You probably would. Yeah, you'd have to have like someone screen it.
So I don't even have to start screening it. I just want to go live every time and just talk.
That's why we don't really do the phone calls thing. Like the phone rings in the studio.
Right.
But we usually don't answer it.
Right.
We don't know,
I don't know. I personally think that a bunch of prank calls coming in randomly would rock.
Yeah,
that would be so awesome. I could just talk trash to them. No, you suck my nuts, all right? All right, I just had to get that out there.
That's not bad, dude. I like it. But now, since you're a booker and all that stuff, I'm sure you watch current day wrestling with a critical eye.
Yeah, unfortunately. Like,
Now, when do you feel like that started for you?
Oh, that as soon as I started training,
Smart
I think,
enough,
as soon as I realized, like, and I hate it. I wish I could go back and like erase that from my mind. Like, I hate that I can't watch wrestling and not be critical. Because it's not all bad, but I feel like I'm
just
so
find the
negative
bad
watching
in
it. Like,
everything.
man, this is the shits. You're awful. Why are you on TV? Like, try to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's tough to like shut your brain off. I mean, you guys know it's the same thing as wrestling.
Right.
Like to watch Monday Night Raw and not be critical of it is super hard not to do. Like,
Right.
So,
but this is a question that I've been thinking about for a while. What do you think it was that got Daniel Bryan so over the last, I'd say, year maybe?
yeah, he's like ridiculously
Super over. Like,
I just think that's what people want to see wrestling,
right.
and I think people miss wrestling because that's not what it's been lately. And he's totally a throwback. I mean,
Right,
and you can
right.
see that he's totally got the sports entertainment thing down. Also,
With the chance.
but
yeah.
he's also a wrestler, and you can totally tell more so than anybody. I mean, look, he came from being fired for choking out a ring announcer to being
Which
brought
I thought
back.
was ridiculous.
Right, to being brought back because he was so popular and is now the biggest name in the company. So I don't know. I mean,
It's crazy.
it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'd say,
And
like
he's super entertaining. It's not the same crap over and over again. It's
very explosive,
Yeah.
like over the top.
And I think that people can relate to him because he's just a normal dude who just kicks ass. Like, you know what I mean? He goes out there and kicks ass, but you could totally see him like walking down the street on the side of you, like,
right,
oh,
dude with a
that's
ridiculous beard,
a normal
like,
guy just like me,
Yeah,
beating
yeah.
the shit out of that guy. That's awesome. I think people can relate to him and get behind him. Whereas John Cena, I don't think people can relate to him anymore. He's not.
He's just been that guy.
He's not
for
that
so
underdog
long.
who wasn't given a chance. He's now like that guy who's always given a chance, and people are so like, ugh, like how much more can we take of the same shit? And Daniel Bryan is not the same shit,
Right.
And that's why he's over. You know,
And I feel like he always had like a personality when he was doing the ROH stuff, and you could see hints of it here and there. But I think that the stuff he did with Kane
yeah,
really helped like
Yep.
push it to the forefront to the WWE crowd.
big time.
Because they did a lot of that, like the team friend and the hugging.
And I thought it was
and all
hilarious.
that. I was
It
enjoying
was
it.
so
Just-
awesome, and it made Kane relevant again too.
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
It brought him
helped
back
it.
into the mix.
It helped both of them out. I liked it.
The Dr. Shelby angles with
Yep.
the
Yeah,
trash cans blowing up. I just thought
I don't usually like those vignette style things either.
Right.
But they did a really good job with those
just the odd couple
Yeah.
scenario of
Yep.
the two.
because it doesn't usually play out from backstage to the ring, but it totally did with that.
Right.
Like the people in the arena actually cared about what was happening backstage. They don't usually do that.
It's kind of just like I'm
Yeah.
gonna go get something to eat.
Like,
or
oh
whatever.
man, this hardcore match is going out into the hallway. This sucks. I paid.
Yeah.
I paid to see it right here. Like, where is it?
Why do I have to look up at this TV?
Yeah.
Now, what's drawing your attention now, other than like the Daniel Bryan angle on current day TV, WWE, TNA?
Well, TNA, I can't even do it.
Is it really?
Literally, I cannot do it.
Do you, what was the last time you attempted a TNA?
This past Thursday.
And how?
I because of the podcast that we do, I try to like at least stay on top of like what
Yeah,
they
right,
have going
right,
on.
right.
So usually like once a month, I'll try to give it a shot just to see where they're at and hope that it maybe got better. And I hate talking so badly about them because I have some friends that work there and like
right, people you know.
it sucks because if they called me tomorrow and said, "Hey, pack your shit, come to Florida, we're gonna hire you,"
You'd be
of course
there,
I would go.
Yeah.
But their product is such shit.
Now, what is it? What is it? What's
Everything.
It's the wrestling.
Everything. Literally everything. Dixie Carter being a heel, their women's division, which used to be like the best division in all of wrestling, is now back to being
Awful.
the drizzling shits. Their tag division is just a clusterfuck. The Aces and Eights thing is so like drawn out and overplayed, and it ultimately never went anywhere.
Right.
It's just stupid shit that nobody cares about. Nobody. 2 months ago when they had the pay-per-view in Boston, my buddy Scott got 2 free tickets, so we went.
Yeah.
The people in the arena didn't give a shit about it.
Right.
The booking doesn't make any sense. And Dixie Carter is just dreadful.
It's just that's
She's
so.
just a dreadful bitch. Unbearable.
So just so no TNA.
No.
Yeah, just no TNA.
If you were to have sex with Dixie Carter or Vicky Guerrero, which one would you pick?
Oh, man.
There it is.
I would have to say Dixie Carter.
See, after all that.
Vicky's gross.
Just her face. I don't know.
Would it be dreadful sex?
It would be.
Just
It would
slow,
be-
drawn out. Didn't make any sense.
Or a grudge fuck.
So we cut TNA out of the equation.
Yeah.
What are you thinking, WWE? What's drawing your attention?
I really like...
You're digging the Lost Matadors?
I'm not.
No. You're not down with the midget bull?
No. Which is a shame because what I do enjoy about them right now is the tag division.
Right. It's picking up. It's getting stronger.
fantastic. Yeah. But I don't know. The Los Matadores, I feel like is just. I don't know if they're trying to get them to quit or
Yeah, just trying to push him out of the company. Is that?
not have to fire them or what. But that's silly. I don't get that.
And how long do you think until they cut the bull? Because the bull.
I don't know. The bull might be the only thing that's over.
It's true. But if they're trying to push him out, you got to cut the bull. You got to cut the entrance. It's just them coming out to that
They'll
hip
just
hop
have,
Latin music.
They'll have Hornswoggle come out and bury the bull, and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, so he pulls him underneath the ring, and he comes out as some sort of leprechaun bull. Is that what Rich Bass is writing for Raw?
A Hornswoggle body with a
bull head.
The bull head.
I'm sold. I'm watching.
Intertwine the gimmicks. I
Yeah.
get it.
You only have room for one midget.
So what is it that you are digging then? If it's not the Los Matadors,
Goldust and Cody Rhodes coming back, I think it's fantastic.
Oh, man,
the
that-
Shield is kicking ass.
the match they had on Raw was
I'm big on the primetime players.
yep
I think
PTV.
it's awesome. Local guy Fred Sampson getting a spot, and
Yep.
his whole thing with coming out of the closet and really making a movement in the business and stuff. I think is cool.
It seemed to get a lot of positive reactions, like
Yeah.
way more than I expected.
Yep.
Because in wrestling, the whole coming out of the closet thing, not too many guys would be too thrilled about doing. You know what I mean? Kind of
Correct.
like
Yeah.
a lot of guys talk a lot of trash behind people's backs.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's
All I have to say was him and his boyfriend look so happy. I seen the picture on the internet.
who could get angry about that? Like, what does it
Right.
matter? Who?
Right.
I don't know.
What does that have to do? Like, how is that going to affect his wrestling career? You know, it's so stupid.
Right, and I'm sure it pissed off a lot of people.
Oh,
But
absolutely. And there are people in the locker room who are like, "Meh," like I don't want to.
Right.
Like, what are you like?
just complimenting yourself so much.
Is
Like,
the
just-
50s now? Like, are we back in the 50s still? Like, what are you stupid?
I don't know, man. I just can't. They must be. To me, I don't know. There's a Joe Rogan has a. I don't know if you're a Joe Rogan fan. One of his stand-ups, he has a joke that says there's two reasons that you would not be happy about gay marriage. One, you're retarded, or two, you secretly think dicks are delicious. And to me, that's just it. Just makes so much sense. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I don't know. But the Goldust, and it's back to wrestling now.
Yeah. Back to that wrestling thing. Who else is in there? The Wyatts.
Yeah,
Wyatts, I
the
think,
Wyatt
are
stuff
awesome.
I think has been pretty entertaining. They're doing it right. I guess Bray Wyatt got injured at the
In Providence.
or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
But
Casey Shooter went and he told me about it. I was like, oh, thanks for inviting me, douche. You know what I mean? I'll go to a house show for free.
Nope. We're
No,
not gonna
not me.
tell
They're
you.
just gonna go. But yeah, I guess he got hurt recently.
Yeah, I don't think it's
Anything too serious?
yeah,
or-
I don't think so. I think that's what I had heard. So yeah, the tag division's really good, and it's been a while since the tag division's been any sort of relevant. So
I'm actually surprised that they've kept Jack Swagger and Claudio together for so long.
yeah, and I think that's cool too. That I think people are starting to get behind it, almost to the point with between the "We the People" tagline and
The
big
giant swing,
and
yeah.
they're going to be baby faces
soon,
you know?
right? I don't know how they're gonna.
And you have to love Dutch Mantel's big old mustache. on the
Always, man.
outside.
It's just always entertaining.
Yep.
Now, Rich, is there any stories we jumped over, or anything that you feel like we left out?
We went back and forth so many times.
I know. I'm not sure what we talked about before the podcast. Or
Yeah, I know, right? I try not to tell so many stories during before the podcast. I don't know.
what about you, Gino? Is there anything that you wanna throw in?
I got a question.
Do it.
Was there ever a time where you were refereeing a match and there was the
asking the same question?
No.
Well, you were hit in the face.
It's another referee-related question. Was there ever a time where maybe the 3 count slipped in there and the guy didn't kick out in time where it wasn't supposed to go down? This has happened before.
Any matches you had to call a disqualification because there was just a dick kick in front of you? Or,
Good.
Another good question from the
You deserve it.
Mack.
You definitely deserve it. Every referee should do that. It pisses me off when they don't, actually. Like,
Is there anybody that you purposely screwed over?
oh, that's another.
Is there anyone? I'll ask the Gino question.
Is there a Rich Bass?
Bret Hart.
Rich Bass? Is there? Is that?
yeah, when Bret Hart worked for XWA. No.
They call the bell.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time where you gave a guy a pat down and you found like a pocket knife in his pocket or anything like that? Maybe like a crowbar in his shoe.
No, you know what's funny about the pat downs is I remember one time Bob Evans had a Kevin Kelly seminar
Yeah.
during the day at Slam Tech, and then at night there was a NECW event. So I did the Kevin Kelly camp or whatever, and then did the NECW show at night. Refed whatever match it was, came to the back. And Kevin Kelly was like, "So you still pat down wrestlers, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess." Like, I don't know. That's
What is the answer to
he was
that
like,
question,
"Oh,"
sir?
he goes, "What is it, 1984?" And I was like, "What do you like?" And I always thought he was an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you're an asshole. Like, and then years later, when I saw him again, I told him that
Told him the story.
What was the
yeah.
deal with
Yeah.
that? Like, I didn't understand. He goes, "When do you ever see referees on TV patting down the wrestlers? Never. That's such an old, out of date thing, and it doesn't mean shit. Like, it means nothing." And it's like, what? You're totally right. If the goal is to be on TV and to do what the referees or wrestlers or whatever do on television, why
You have to. Yeah.
why am I going to do that? And I stopped.
You've just stopped doing it.
I don't
since
do
then?
it anymore. Like, it's stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense. What the fuck am I going to pat you down for? They don't pat down John Cena on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Like, TNA doesn't do it. ROH doesn't do it. Like, there's just no...
And
reason
now
to
everybody
do it.
that's heard this is going to notice on TV that
Yeah.
nobody's patting anybody down anymore.
It doesn't happen anymore. So now, like, a heel that can't get over will be like, "Check him, ref."
Right.
And I literally say, "No,
I ain't doing it.
I'm not doing it." Like, you're not gonna get over because you get over. Like,
Yeah.
don't. When heels put the heat on the ref, that's like my biggest pet peeve in wrestling. Like, get over. I don't need to check him.
Yeah, there's no need for
Now
it.
you're gonna look worse because I'm refusing to do it.
I'm the ref, and I'm telling you what to do.
Like, for real though.
To go back to Mack's initial question, is there
Oh yeah.
any matches you've actually called on the shoe?
Yeah, a couple of times. Guys just didn't kick out.
Just the 3 happened.
It just happened, dude. Like, it's your fault.
Now, was there any? Did you get any heat? Was there
Yeah.
any heat on you
Oh,
from
yeah.
the wrestlers, from
Oh yeah.
promoters, or
Nope. The wrestlers. The very first time that ever happened was for Dan Marotti, MWF. It was Nick Knight versus Osiris. GA West.
yeah.
Yeah. I was told that the finish of the match is a schoolboy.
Yeah.
Now, regardless as to whether that happens or not, if that's the finish of the match, you're not going to do another one at any point in time.
You
That's-
think.
Right. You're not the
Right.
main event. You're like number 2 match. You have 6 minutes. Like, so whatever happens, something in the match happens. I don't remember. Osiris hit a move on Nick Knight. He had already done a schoolboy and kicked out. So I was already like,
I guess that's not the finish.
It was the 3rd schoolboy that did the job.
but that's fine because I'm going to count, even though I know the finish, I'm going to count it. If you don't kick out, it's your own fault. Like,
Right. Yeah.
I just like to know in the back of my mind what's going to happen. And Osiris hit like a rock bottom or something, like something significant that could be a finish
Right.
in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Nick Knight didn't kick out. Fuck it. Here's your winner.
Now, was he knocked out cold? What was the deal?
No, he just didn't kick out in time.
It just.
So now
Was there a late kick out?
I don't remember.
No.
I don't remember. Honestly,
I really wouldn't doubt it.
honestly, I don't remember exactly how, but I just remember he did not kick out. But either way, the outcome of the match was the same. It is what it is.
Right.
We can talk about it in the locker room,
Right.
whatever. There's 300 and something people at this event. Jake the Snake's on the show. It's a big, fucking deal. He pops up, blows by G.A. West, Osiris, and gets in my face. In front of the people. That wasn't the finish. Fucking restart the match. That wasn't the finish. In front of 300 people.
Right.
In the middle of this mat. Names are in the locker room. The missing link in the locker room. Jake the Snake in the locker room. And you're making an absolute asshole of yourself right now in front of all these people. And exposing the business is what you're doing. So I looked over at Dan Marotti, who was sitting at the gimmick table. I pointed to him, and I pointed to the locker room, and I just left the ring.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to do this in the ring. This is
Right,
stupid.
yeah.
I'm a little bit more professional than that. Went in the back. As soon as Nick Knight comes through the curtain, he starts screaming at me. Gino Martino was thinking there's going to be a fight. Eddie Edwards and Fergal Devitt come around the corner.
Right.
I know them from NECW at this point.
Right.
We're cool. Drove up to the show with Fergal Devitt.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, is there a problem here? Now, Nick Knight, Eddie Edwards, and Fergal Devitt. Big difference here. And immediately he stops chirping because Fergal stepped to him is there what's the problem here? And he goes off into the locker room. He's throwing chairs, berating me the entire way, throwing chairs, missing link of all people who at that point was 70 years old goes, do we need to stretch this fucking guy? So I'm explaining to these guys what happened. Everybody's saying it was his fault because it was you didn't kick out, and now you've made a complete asshole of yourself in the locker room. And I mean, he never got booked for that company again, and I don't know. He just made a complete asshole of himself.
And that was the first time that you have ever had that you actually counted somebody for the three.
Yeah.
So.
That finish sounded like it was better than the schoolboy finish.
It was. It was fantastic. So I don't know. I mean, years after, he probably. I don't know if he even remembers it happening, but we see each other at PLWs and occasionally other places, and we're
We're cordial.
We're fine with each other. You know what I mean? We've talked about. There's no heat there at all.
Right. Yeah.
Done and over with. But that was the first time anybody had ever stepped to me like that. That was crazy.
And now, is that the only time that's happened?
No, it only happened one other time. It was Jason Blade versus Xavier. Remember Xavier?
Xavier, ROH first ROH champion.
Yeah. Was he the first ROH champion?
I believe so. I think he low key. I think he beat.
It was they wrestled each other in Quincy for NECW.
Okay.
And Blade was supposed to go over. It was in the Iron 8. So again, it was the same outcome, just a different move that
finished the
But
match.
again, he didn't kick out.
No, who was it that didn't kick out?
Xavier didn't kick out. So in the locker room, he tries, and when a wrestler doesn't know the referee, again, another one of my big pet peeves, ref. Hey, ref.
Yeah.
We're in the locker room now. We're not in the
Yeah.
ring. Don't fucking be a heel and hey, ref me in the fucking locker room. We're on the same level. Don't hey, ref. I don't hey, wrestler you.
Yeah.
Don't fucking hey, ref me. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask you that question. I'm sure when you start off in a new company, do you feel like you don't get as much respect as some of the other wrestlers as a referee? Is you were saying,
absolutely.
hey ref, I'm sure
Absolutely.
that happens a lot.
No question. But you let what you're capable of doing speak for yourself, and hopefully somebody else can vouch for you, and you're there for a reason. You're not just some douche off the street. So yeah, in the locker room,
so
he gave me the whole ref thing. Hey ref, hey ref. So I'm already oh man, fuck you already. Because you're already being disrespectful. You can't just talk to me And he tried to blame it on me, and I stood my ground and said, no, absolutely not. You didn't kick out. You can watch the tape. I don't know what you want me to tell you. You didn't kick out.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're getting so fucking pissed off about because the outcome was
the same.
The
Yeah.
people popped huge. What's the problem?
Now, did he also hop up to his feet right away and get in your face? Or?
No, I mean he definitely sold it a little bit more than the way Nick Knight did.
Right,
You
yeah.
know, but you could tell he was like pissed off in the ring. I just thought they had changed the finish.
Right, yeah, because that happens.
Right, absolutely. I just thought it was because it was a high impact move that easily could have been
A finish of a match.
finish. And I mean, I don't know why it wasn't such a big deal, or why it was such a big deal. So, yep.
I don't know, man. I find that to flip out like that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I've had a couple. You see it occasionally with guys tweak out in locker rooms and throw chairs and stuff. But
Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
I don't know, man.
Last time I saw
to
that
tweak
happen,
on a ref
yeah,
for counting a 3 count. I don't know. I don't think I would have that same reaction. If that was the case. I'm like, oh, all right, shit's over.
like in front of like legends and your
Right
peers,
in a locker room, like.
and then in front of the people, like, come on, dude.
I pretty much, and this is a first for the Matt cast. What do you have to say to some of the newcomers or people who are looking to getting into the referee business? Like, they want to be there, counting the threes and
The 5s and
yeah, all of them. And what do you have to say to some of the people that are looking to get into the business for refereeing?
there's a few guys out there that ref. Kevin Quinn.
Yep.
Rob Tuttle is a ref in the area.
Yeah.
Trevor Cabral. He doesn't really ref very much, but it's
It's
my friend Trevor who refs.
With Kevin Quinn, it's really cool because I remember him being a fan and bringing his son to shows.
Right.
And then he told me that he wanted to start training to referee and that he wanted me to help him. And that was the first time anybody had ever really like said anything like that. And I thought, like, wow, that could be like the highest honor ever for somebody to tell you to teach them what you do. Like,
Right, yeah.
That's cool as hell. So me and Kevin get along really well, and he listens a lot to what I have to tell him, and that's a really cool feeling. Like, again, not to like I'm not putting myself over him. Like, just to have somebody think of you that way is really cool.
Right,
Like, to hold your what you do in high regard. So he's really good. Rob Tuttle, to see where he's come as far as a referee goes. I mean, when I met him, he was just this dumpy dude that used to manage TJ Richter at APCW, and then, he started getting the proper training and got his shit together, and I think he's one of the best refs in New England. I really do. Very underrated. But again, both of those guys trained as wrestlers. They knew how to take bumps. They knew how to, I mean, maybe not so much Kevin. He's a little bit older when he started in the business. But he's listening to people, and he's going about things the right way.
Right.
And he's taking advice from the right people. And now he's getting to the point where he can pick and choose where he works and not just feel
It has to do every
like
show.
he has to work everywhere. Now he's got
Right.
enough experience to be like, whoa, I don't need to work for free. I don't need to work these shitbag places for free
Right.
anymore. Like, so I would just say to try to break in with the mentality of a wrestler. And that seemed to work out pretty decent for me.
Now, earlier you talked about how you believe PWF gave a lot of people chances, and that you would see things in guys other people wouldn't see. What are you looking at in New England right now? Who do you think are some upcoming guys, some ready to break through to that next level?
There's a lot of guys out there right now. I thought Evan Markopoulos really had a good thing going, and he moved to OVW.
Yep.
So he's at OVW right now. JT Dunn's really gotten a good buzz for himself through the internet. He's going a whole different route, and he's putting his name out there and
It's working.
and doing his thing. So guys like him, Sean Burke,
yeah.
who is a big guy. He's an old school heavyweight wrestler. He's not like JT Dunn is not a heavyweight wrestler.
Right.
Sean Burke looks the part, like stereotypical professional wrestler, and he has Antonio Thomas as his trainer. So it's like, okay, you got all the
Good
tools,
combination,
Now it's
yeah.
just a matter of putting everything together, and he's totally getting it. I've been seeing a lot of guys in Connecticut lately. RWE is
Yep.
getting a lot of buzz. So it's cool to get a whole different view of guys I've never really worked with before. Yeah, and the chaotic school, they just keep spitting out students that.
Just good guys.
I mean, that's to me. If you're going to train to be a wrestler, like to start out, chaotic is definitely where you got to go. No disrespect to anybody else around here, because there are some good places to train. But
right.
You're just going to get the overall experience up at. It's not even chaotic. It's Brian Fury's school.
Yeah.
Brian Fury, Brian Malonis,
New England Pro Wrestling Academy.
Todd Hansen. Yeah, that's it. Todd Hansen. So that's what I would say to do.
So, you got anything, Mac?
Well, I was going to initiate the time for Plugomania. If you wanted to plug any websites, first of all, I would love to plug MonsterMac.net for all your Monster Mac needs. You can go there and check out Monster Mac and look at some Monster Mac pictures and Monster Mac video.
I love that's how your brain goes right to pictures. You still remember like internet from 2001 where you just go to look at some sweet Monster Mac pictures on the website.
Let's look at the gallery. Sign my guest book.
For real, have you been updating your live journal, Mac?
Not currently.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, there's some sweet pictures. So, Rich Bass on Twitter, right? It's
Yes, it's at Ref Rich Bass. This Saturday night, I will be refereeing in West Warwick for the XWA.
Yep,
yeah.
They're bringing in some names.
I believe they just have Jay Lethal this one. They usually always have a whole bunch.
Yeah, there's Vader, Bret Hart.
Vader, Hacksaw, Bret. Yeah, they've had a ton. But I think they just have Jay Lethal. He's going to be wrestling Biff Busick, so that'll be fantastic. Yeah. I think it's just a 6-match card, but XWA always puts on a good event. So.
And that's it. That's your next upcoming show.
Yep, Saturday night, and then the following week, RWE in South Windsor, Connecticut, next Saturday. They have Matt Stryker and Nunzio and Just Incredible, I believe. Mike
Question
Bennett,
mark.
Bob Evans.
It's a bunch of guys.
Just a bunch of good guys.
And so be sure to keep. Where will people keep an eye out for the PWF information that's going to be coming?
You can either the Twitter, the Facebook, or pwfnewrestling.com for said announcement. Probably within the week, I'd say.
Okay, so this will be soon then. You're saying.
That's why I didn't know when this will
be up.
The light of day, so I didn't want to
spoil it. No spoilers. Yeah, I gotcha. And the round table, it's Pier.
Yes. If you can go on Twitter, Pier PIERWR6 or BSRlive.com live on Sundays at 8:30. Or you can find us on
iTunes,
the old iTunes, all that good stuff.
We'll put a link up on the website too. So
Pier 6 Wrestling Roundtable. Just a bunch of bullshitting, but I can't say shit on that show.
So you guys could do a Mac cast. We'll bring everybody here.
That'd be awesome.
And just do a Mac cast with everybody, and you guys can just talk as much shit as you.
And we can all say shit.
Exactly. So, Rich, I just wanted to thank you, man, for having us in your house and
it was awesome.
And do the podcast, dude.
And only David Cash had the F-bomb limit for the Matt cast. We had to put a limit on his F-bombs.
Oh, yeah. But that's every other
You're free
word.
to drop as many as you want. So...
I know I said shit a bunch of times. I think I only said fuck once, but now that's twice.
No, I was counting the F-bombs. I wanted to see if... I always count the F-bombs for the guests to see if they hit the Davy Cash limit, but they haven't.
That's impossible.
How many?
I think Pyro must have had that, because Pyro drank. We all drank a lot of French wine that evening.
There you go.
And the party got started way before the podcast did. So by the time the end of the podcast came, I believe... Yeah, it was a strange slur of pro wrestling.
Wrestling.
I think he called himself a wrestling god like 4 times. I'm not sure. It's a lot of super kicks were thrown out there.
In the future, we are going to have a sober podcast only for Chris Pyro.
Yeah.
But it's a redo. But yeah, I personally, from the bottom of my heart, way deep, want to thank you for inviting me into your lovely home.
It was a pleasure,
Very
sir.
lovely. I love the furniture that you have.
We
Yes.
talked about that earlier, Mac.
But I thought it was a great one, and I always really wanted the fans to know, like, referees and what their opinion on the business is.
You broke our referee V card.
Ah, sweet.
So yes. Oh no, Trevor. Pat, they're not refs though. No, Pat refed a few shows, but he stopped. He did like 5 shows.
They're just refs. I'm an official.
Yeah, you're the senior official of the Matt Cast
You're
podcast.
senior official. Heat.
I love it.
Heat.
But yeah, man, we just wanted to say thank you again, Gino. Thank you for coming and hanging out. And you didn't really say much, but he keeps just pointing.
He thinks he thinks I'd get mad.
Is that the deal?
Because he put himself over for too long.
Yeah, the podcast. Be sure to check out other Mattcast episodes, ladies and gentlemen.
Like the Gino one from
The
last
Gino one
time.
is excellent. Scott
gonna
Levesque,
listen.
the Scott Levesque trilogy, as I like to call it, and the Gregory Edwards Candido is a good one. They're all good ones, except for the Dan Strikes one. Oh, I'm just joking, Dan.
John Callahan in that.
Sajid Muldoon ones. Check them all out.
You did a Dan Strikes one?
Oh yeah, you should give it a listen. Yeah, I don't think he will.
Only at monstermac.net for all your Monster Mac and Training Number 1 needs. Thank you very much for listening, you wrestling fans out there. Bringing you the info. Monster Mac and Training Number 1. Everybody, have a good day or night or whatever time of day it is. Goodbye.